irresponsible.
And I think one of the things is, I don't know, I follow compassionate conservation where it talks about it's like born free. Have you ever seen the movie Elsa the Lion?
My childhood dog was an English Mastiff, and we named her after that movie.
Yeah.
So yes.
So they come up with this compassionate. So one of the components that we should all honor is the individual. So, you can't just say, okay, I'm just going to go and I just wrote a blog about the fact that this stuck with me for many, many years that years ago, they were going to, cull an elephant herd. And because they said the elephants needed to be culled because it was a drought and they were causing damage. Well, as it turns out, they discovered that, the elephants are archonic and belong very much in there, and they help all the other animals. So
Right.
they're part of the whole diversity, they enhance it by they've got big feet, so the rain can collect and dew in their footprints, and they can smell water from, 5 miles away, and they can do so many things. And so they got it wrong. So they're thinking, but then you're also thinking about one matriarch learned from another matriarch. So you're going back generation after generation after generation, and that's an individual. And so what you're trying to do is, okay, so you're going to go in and call them. You shoot that one that knows these routes that they take,
Right.
you know, and it's the same thing like the story of, the individual with the pack, the runt that saved the sister.
Oh yeah, triangle. Right. Yeah.
Well, and you just think that you cannot do that because these individuals are beings, they have feelings, and that's what, Jane Goodall has learned all of these years. And, one of the things that she's also learned is, our close relatives, the closest relatives, the chimpanzees, are very violent too, and they're related to us. And it's kind of sad, but
Right.
to me, it's not conservation. The old ethics of conservation, the North American model, all talks about, all these things that you have to do, these principles, and there's several of them, but I want them to include the individuals, that individuals matter. And you can't just go in and, kill off, part of a pack,
Right.
and they do this with coyote hunting too. They hunt them 24/7 all year long. And you think, and then you hear, well, they'll rebound. Like you said, wait a minute. It's not about rebounding, it's about the individual, about
Right.
those animals.
Right. Yeah. And I think to your point is that the individuals, there is no, unless you're following them for a really long time. And if you're following them, you're probably not going to want to kill them anyway. But the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is that you have no idea what knowledge they have,
Yes.
especially with, your example of elephants. They're so matriarchal as well, and the wolves, both of them being keystone species and important to their environment, but also just the fact that their knowledge, each individual's knowledge, is so important. Like the matriarch, you said, 813, she had 9 pups, so she clearly is very successful and knowledgeable, and that knowledge is now lost because she was killed. I think, obviously by a human too early, unreasonably. Um, yeah.
I just think we have to take a look at the individual. I don't know if you're familiar with Mark Bekoff, and he works with Jane Goodall, and he talks about the animal's behavior and psychology today. He
I don't
talks
know if I'm familiar with him, but I'm definitely interested. So
I'll send
please.
it to you, but he works with
Yeah.
them. He talks about the lives of animals and how they have emotions and, the way they live. And so we need to rethink all of this. We're also on the precipice of this, global warming. We need these animals in place. We need to keep them in, the ecosystems because they're so valuable, and their knowledge and everything. We can't afford to do that anymore. We can't just go in and get, and And then another thing, Jane Goodall and all of us were learning more and more about these animals. And, the more we learn, like learning about Triangle and, how he defended his sister, and it's like Peter says in the film, what we know now, we're learning more and we also shouldn't be justifying and saying, okay, they're going to do this and they're good for this. They have a right to exist. I think they're there.
Right.
We have to take care of them.